Well, welcome. I am Toddi Steelman, Vice President and Vice Provost for Climate and Sustainability here at Duke University. It is a real pleasure to see so many leaders from finance, from industry, from government, from philanthropy and academia gathered here for billions to trillions. So it is my great pleasure to say welcome. Welcome to Duke University. Your presence reflects something very important. We all understand that climate and energy are not just environmental challenges. They are capital challenges. They are market design challenges. They are risk management challenges. And ultimately, they are innovation challenges. We know the scale of the task before us, and we remain undaunted in the face of that. The transition to modern, reliable, and decarbonized energy systems will require not billions, but trillions of dollars of investment over the coming decades. That investment must reshape infrastructure, accelerate clean energy investment, strengthen grids, enable new industrial systems, and expand access in emerging and developing economies. Finance is not peripheral to this transformation. It is foundational. And yet, while we all can agree that finance is vital, actually deploying the capital where it is most needed is profoundly difficult. Capital does not automatically flow to opportunity. It responds to risk signals, policy certainty, market structures, institutional mandates, and political context. Clean energy projects face higher upfront costs. Emerging markets face currency and sovereign risk. Early-stage technologies struggled with the so-called valley of death. Infrastructure for AI and electrification, the demands for scale and speed will test our regulatory and financial systems. And political polarization complicates long-term investment strategies and signals. In other words, the barriers are not simply about lack of money. They are about misaligned incentives, incomplete information, structural risk, and institutional inertia. Overcoming these barriers requires creativity, but not creativity untethered from reality. It requires evidence-based innovation. It requires rigorous analysis of what works, what does not, and why. It requires careful experimentation with blended finance, new public-private partnerships, market-shaping policies, and financial instruments that better price risk and reward long-term value creation. And this is where universities and other knowledge-based institutions, more broadly, have a unique value. At Duke, through partnerships with peer institutions, we are positioned to serve as honest brokers and applied problem solvers. We can convene across sectors and political fault lines. We can generate independent analysis. We can test ideas in real-world context. And we will train the next generation of leaders who will carry this work forward. And that is what this conference, Billions to Trillions, is really all about. And we have a stellar lineup for you today. Today, you will hear from leaders grappling with the most pressing dimensions of climate and energy finance. We will explore how to address clean energy finance gaps where viable technologies still struggle to reach scale. In our session on AI infrastructure, capital markets, and climate change, you will consider how the explosive growth of AI is reshaping demand for power, infrastructure, and capital allocation. You will engage in the challenge of scaling energy for AI demand, weighing risks, opportunities, and innovations for low-carbon solutions in an era of unprecedented growth. You will confront the tension between risk, returns, and reality in emerging market climates, where the need is enormous, but the perceived risks remain all too high. We will unpack the role of central banks and sovereign lending in climate finance, and what systematic interventions may be required to shift to markets at scale. And you will hear a compelling case for climate optimism, not as naive hope, but as a recognition that the innovation, markets, and policy have already achieved more than many have predicted, and we can still achieve so much more as we move into the future. Importantly, today is also not just about listening, but it's also about interaction. We have breakout sessions that are designed to create space for candid exchange across sectors, across disciplines, and across perspectives. The problems we are tackling do not sit neatly within institutional boundaries, and the solutions will not emerge from silos. So we have crafted opportunities for us to break those down. I also want to emphasize something else. Billions to Trillions is not just about this single event on the calendar today. After 2 successful summits over the last 2 years, we have transformed to an integrated year-round initiative rather than convening once and dispersing. We are building a sustained platform for research, engagement, and action. So throughout the rest of the year, our initiative will drive applied research, policy analysis, private sector engagement, and cross-sector convenings. And you all serve as the engine that drives that for us. We will explore innovations in climate finance, technology, and governance. And we want you to continue to engage with us over the year as we continue. We will seek, as we seek practical pathways to accelerate modern, decarbonized, and inclusive growth, not only here in the United States, but across the world. So today is a very key part of this much broader arc. The conversations that will begin here today will inform our research agenda. The partnerships that you initiate here today can evolve into pilot programs, policy proposals, or investment vehicles. The disagreements that we surface here today will sharpen our understanding and improve our designs. And if we are truly serious about moving from billions to trillions, we must move beyond the generalities that we so often engage in. We must confront the very difficult trade-offs we face. We must test models, we must measure outcomes, and we must remain willing to adjust in the face of the evidence that evolves. Finally, the energy transition is not a single project. It is a generational transformation of infrastructure, of markets, and institutions. It will demand persistence, as we very well know. It will demand humility, and it will demand collaboration at a scale that matches the capital that we seek to mobilize. So today, I invite you to engage deeply, challenge your own assumptions, share your practical experience, build some unlikely partnerships, think not only what is possible in theory, but what is scalable in practice. And on behalf of Duke University and all of our partners here today in this initiative, I thank you for being here, for bringing your expertise, for bringing your candor, and for contributing to this shared effort. So, let's get to work. Thank you.